Well, this episode is entitled Where Tyrants Spend Eternity, and in this episode we witness the rise of tyrants, 2 of them. The big surprise is neither of them is named the Mule. Now also, this was the episode with the greatest poetry yet on this series, and the episode where we might have said goodbye to one of our fan favorite characters. We'll find out next episode if the character survived. But if not, which is what I thought when I first watched the scene, I'll admit I did not see it coming. And beyond the surprise, I was overwhelmed by the poetry surrounding the character's presumed death. But let me backtrack and start from the beginning. We pick up from the previous episode with Brother Day, Cleon 24, speeding toward Mycogen. Now this episode, he's in what looks like a city. Brother Day goes into a vacant building, then he's surrounded by a bunch of bad guys who shoot him off the transport and lift up his helmet. Turns out it's not Brother Day, but a random guy he paid to wear the Claviger suit. Day watches the scene from a distance. Cut to Demerzel just outside the Mycogen sector. They pull the dead Claviger out of the water. The Imperial Guard asks if they should try to find Brother Day, but Demerzel tracks Brother Dawn's nanites and realizes he's heading toward Clarion Station, which is the seat of the Galactic Council. Demerzel tells the guard, "I know exactly where Brother Day has gone, and we will not see him again. He will not trouble us. Dawn I will deal with myself." Cut to Brother Dawn on the Whisper ship with Gaal. He wants to know about her mentalic powers. Now she says it's a talent she has in common with the Mule. Dawn wants to know if she can control people. Yes. Are you controlling me? Well, I'm not like the Mule. I only control people when it's necessary, but sometimes I can't always tell if I'm controlling them. Now, previously, Gaal wanted the Empire to make an enclosure around Kalgan, which Dawn tried to do but was overruled by his brothers because Empire doesn't have enough votes on the Galactic Council. Gaal decides they have to blackmail the Council into making the enclosure. Brother Dawn chooses a council member who's a friend of his, Tarisk, for the blackmail. Now, Gaal tells Dawn, he's your friend. You have to betray him, though. You have to plant the blackmail because your Imperial nanites can get you access through every security checkpoint. Now Dawn tells her, I won't blink. I'm a Cleon. We're not raised to be kind. But I have to do something first. Then he goes to record a hologram message for someone. He begins the message by saying, I'm sorry to be doing this. I have to apologize. Next storyline. Han Pritcher arrives on New Terminus to see Mayor Indbur. Pritcher says he has information about the Mule, and Indbur says, oh right, you and the Mallows went to see him, Toran and Bayta Mallow, who kidnapped the Mule's clown, Magnifico? Pritcher says, Magnifico can be interrogated to learn how to defeat the Mule, but Indbur isn't having it and throws Pritcher in jail. Now, for the first time on the TV show, Magnifico is referred to as a clown. Now, in the books, he's known as the Mule's clown and court jester. Next storyline. Toran, Bayta, and Magnifico are on the Whisper ship, which turns out was damaged while they were escaping from Kalgan. They don't have enough jumps to make it to New Terminus, so Toran jumps the ship to the nearby planet of Haven, home planet of the Traitor Alliance. Now, they crash land and are rescued by Randu Mallow, Toran's uncle. Now, in these scenes, we find out Toran is an orphan who was raised by Uncle Randu. Now, he's the grandson of the great Hober Mallow, or so he believes. Hober Mallow had a number of children, presumably by different women, and he didn't acknowledge all of them. Now, that's directly from the books. Randu was in a shuttle crash and lost an arm. He also lost his son in the crash. Now, Toran felt he was a substitute for the son Randu lost, but couldn't measure up, so they became estranged. We find out Bayta wasn't always a wealthy influencer, and she's not a First Foundationer. She was raised on the periphery. Now, she and Toran had been recruited by Pritcher to spy on the Mule in a previous episode. Now they want to go to New Terminus, where Harry Seldon is set to appear from the vault and guide the Foundation through the third crisis, which, according to psychohistory, is the Traitor Alliance potentially seceding from the Foundation. Randu says the Foundation is nothing but a bunch of Seldonites who got rich off the backs of the traitors. He's convinced to go with Toran and Bayta to New Terminus to discuss a peaceful secession from the Foundation. Bayta tells Randu that Magnifico's music amplified the mule's power and could help Randu in his negotiations. Now, during all of this, Magnifico is playing his music. He tells Toran that Bayta is trying to charm Uncle Randu and that his music might help. It seems Magnifico has grown quite attached to Toran and Bayta, and they to him, especially Bayta. And it turns out Magnifico can do backflips. He seems to be so full of joy this episode. Now, when Toran tells him he believes Uncle Randu refused to get a prosthetic arm as a reminder to Toran that he didn't measure up to Randu's dead son, Magnifico says, "Wow, that's a bold move, living without an arm just to spite you." So this is Magnifico reading Toran like a book. And now for the pièce de résistance of this episode. Through the blackmail, which falsely accuses council member Tarisk of taking a bribe to help the mule conquer Kalgan, the Galactic Council is persuaded by Tarisk to vote for an enclosure. Even though enclosures were outlawed after Cleon 17 tried to enclose Terminus to stop the Foundation in Season 2, the planet Terminus was destroyed in the tumult, but all the first Foundationers were saved by Harry Seldon, who kept them safe inside the vault. So the vault is much larger within than it appears from the outside. It probably houses a portal and can act like a whisper ship. When Brother Dawn planted the blackmail in council member Tarisk's residence, we find out that the council member's wife and daughters were vacationing on Kalgan when the mule conquered the planet, and they've been stuck there ever since. Now, Tarisk didn't want to keep them trapped with an enclosure, but he complied with Brother Dawn's demand and influenced the council to vote for the enclosure. Now, while Dawn is at the council member's residence, he finds a naked woman hiding in a room. It appears she's having an affair with Tarisk and heard everything Dawn said. Now, Tarisk wants to save her life, but Dawn shoots her dead. As he's leaving the residence, he looks at the blood on his hand and flings the pistol away. It's a great slow-motion scene where we see that Dawn indeed has become a tyrant. The Imperial fleet arrives and encloses Kalgan. The mule projects a hologram of himself to the Galactic Council and says, "I'm not even on Kalgan. I left with my forces before your fleet arrived, and I left a gift for you, a cobalt spike in the jump gate. I only chose Kalgan because it was near a jump gate. The blast radius destroys everything in the vicinity." He says, "Kalgan was nothing to me, and now it's nothing to anyone. Remember, it was Empire who caused this suffering." The blast destroys the jump gate, the Imperial fleet, and the planet itself, Kalgan. Dawn is enraged. Gaal is trying to evacuate him from Clarion Station. He's told to put on a spacesuit. He'll have to do a spacewalk to rendezvous with the Whisper ship, but he says somehow the mule knew about the enclosure. "I'm not going anywhere until you tell me the truth, Gaal. Did you know that the mule had taken the jump gate?" She says, "I thought he probably did. It was necessary for the enclosure to fail because Empire had become too strong. Demerzel's been using the Prime Radiant to slow down the fall of the Empire, and we can't have that. Foundation is supposed to be the largest galactic force by now, according to Harry Seldon's original plan, and we need a strong foundation to defeat the mule." Dawn asks, "But why does Empire have to die for Foundation to live?" Gaal says, "Foundation has whisper ships and breadbasket planets, the resources we need to keep out of the mule's hands. But Empire is a large target for the mule. With Kalgan's destruction, the Galactic Council will take control of the Imperium and the Cleonic dynasty will end. The Council will try to appease the mule, but there's no appeasing him. He'll take control of Trantor, then the Foundation will surround him and lay siege, starve him out and kill him. That's the enclosure I need to succeed, not this one." Just then, council member Tarisk finds Dawn. He points a pistol at Dawn. He says, "You killed my wife and daughters. Forced me to kill them." He shoots at Dawn and misses, but the airlock blows open and Tarisk is sucked out into the vacuum of space. Dawn is wearing the spacesuit and is clinging to the edge of the airlock. We're shown a brief flashback to Dawn recording the hologram message. Turns out it was a message for Brother Dusk. Dawn says, "I'm sorry, but I can't be present for your ascension." Dusk is set to be euthanized, let's recall. Dawn says, "I know you won't be like the Dusks who run. Be brave and be at peace, Brother Dusk, and I pray that I see you again, wherever we tyrants spend eternity." And then Dawn is sucked out of the airlock. Back to Gaal. The airlock is breached on the Whisper ship. Now she thinks it's Dawn. Turns out it's Demerzel who steps out of the airlock and says, "Gaal Dornick, I haven't seen you in over 300 years. You are looking well." End of episode. Does Dawn survive? We'll find out next episode. If Brother Dawn died, the poetry of his last message to Brother Dusk is so fitting because it turned out to be a eulogy for himself as well. In this episode, he became a tyrant, and his reign was short-lived. However, if Dawn survives, the poetry still works. Also, this episode establishes Gaal as a tyrant. She sacrificed the lives of every person on Kalgan to defeat the Mule. Now, human lives aren't just a math calculation. What Gaal did wrong here was to try to fight fire with fire, which never works. A greater power is needed to prevent endless war. Maybe a higher power? Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.